Hi friends, good morning to you and welcome to your Language and Literacy Part 2 lesson for today. This is Friday, September 25th. Please take a moment to begin in your CJs as we always do to keep up with our good study habits, our organizational skills. Find the Language and Literacy section in your CJ for today and write the following. And the great thing about this recorded video is that you can go ahead and pause at this time and take all the time that you need to write this. But I would like to go ahead and move forward. Okay, so a little bit of a review from yesterday. Let's remind ourselves what we learned. We talked about what a verb was. A verb is a word that describes an action. It tells about something that a person, animal, or force of nature can do or be. So our verbs are doing words. They're action words. These great examples here. The boy is swimming. Swimming is a verb. That's something he's doing. The girl is painting in this picture. Painting is a verb. That's something that she's doing. And the boy here is on a bicycle. He is riding. Riding is our verb. That's something he's doing. Good. All right, whoops, we're going to move forward. A little bit more review. And we took a look at our sentence structure again. We've been talking about sentences all this week, reminding ourselves that our sentences start with a capital letter. They have finger spaces in between the words. They end with a punctuation. We've been working on sounding out words and spelling all of this week since we started our spelling analysis. So you might begin to stretch these words and read them, even if they're new to you. We also took a look at our article and noun. We reminded ourselves that our article is the word that comes before our nouns, right? We put a green box around the article. We underlined in orange our nouns because kids, that's a person. Pumpkins are things. And then yesterday, we added something new since we talked about verbs. We underlined in purple what our verb was. In this case, carry. When you carry something, you're doing something physically. That's an action to carry. Good. We did the same thing here with our octopus. Oh, not our octopus. I said it again, friends. I had that originally, didn't I? And you corrected me. This is a squid. So a squid swims. We did the same thing here. Our article plus noun. And we identified our article, noun, and verb in the sentence. We said that the verb now is swims. That's an action word. That's what the squid is doing. Good. We have been looking at sentence structure that is set up like this. Our article first, then our noun, then our verb, right? That's a complete sentence. And we had some great examples. The alligator chomps, an elephant eats, a chef cooks. All of these had article plus noun plus verb. It was the same structure. I'm going to skip over this. We talked about plot. We're going to come back to our reading in just a moment. Excuse me, friends. But did you know that you can mix these up? Article, noun, and verb do not have to be in the same order to make a complete sentence. You need these three things, but they can be in a different order. I'm going to come back to our slide here, and we're going to do some things with this slide so that I can show you. So, what if we took article plus noun plus verb and we made it verb, article, noun? Does this still work? Let's see. Let's go to the words that we have here in our word bank. Which one is our verb? Which is an action word over here? Want. Yes, to want something, that's an action. To want is sort of a state of being, right? You can want something. That's something you're doing. You're actively wanting. So that's a verb. Want. And then where's our article? Well, we know an is one of our articles, so that's going to go here. Our article comes before our noun. We have apple. Is apple a noun? Yes, it is. It's a thing. So let's look at our sentence we created here. Want an apple. We have our verb, our article, our noun. It has punctuation, but what are we missing? What are we missing? What if we did this? What if we said, I want an apple? Does that make a complete sentence now? Yes. Now it's a complete sentence. I want an apple. Do you see how we did that? It's a different structure, but it is still a sentence. We can complete a sentence in a different way. So there we go. Now we have a capital letter. I want an apple. We have our finger spaces. We're learning to stretch out these words. We don't have to be there just yet. We're kind of there. We'll do a small check mark. Can we spell the words on the word wall? Again, we don't have to be there yet. I don't expect that of you, but we're working on it. Did we label a picture in this case? Did you happen to take a look at our picture? I think this is a nice label for our picture. I want an apple. And did we end our sentence with punctuation? Yes, we did. Great job, students. Okay, so now I would like us to switch gears if we can. Let's turn our attention to something else. We've talked about our sentence structure and reviewed a bit. I hope that all of that was very familiar to you. And as we were going through, you were telling yourself, yes, I know that. I remember learning that. This makes sense to me. I've seen this before. I hope it's all starting to come together. Of course, throughout the year, we'll see many more examples, but this was a good introduction. Okay, now I would like to switch gears to our reading. And let's remind ourselves, we talked about the plot in a story. The plot was the sequence of events, the order that events happen in a story, and probably the most important part, because it's through the plot that we learn about our characters and the setting and everything comes together. We said the plot is made up of 3 different parts. We have important events, a problem, and then a resolution at the end. And all of this week, with myself and Miss Ferreira, those first 3 days, you were exploring plot through the book, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, and looking at what happened there. But yesterday, I introduced you to another aspect of a story. I asked you to think about the theme. What's the theme in a story? We said the theme is the message, moral, or lesson of a story. It's the heart of the story. It's what you take away from it. After you read a story, it's that feeling that you're left with and you say, this is what I thought. This is really what I'm struck with. This is what I remember about the story. Yeah. And we learned that there are common themes. That means there are themes that you will see often over and over again. Themes like friendship, courage, compassion, acceptance, kindness, honesty, never giving up, and responsibility. Do you remember the theme that we talked about with the book, The Boy Who Cried Wolf? Yes, we talked about themes of honesty, right? Because we learned that through The Boy Who Cried Wolf, that people don't believe liars even when they're telling the truth. And so it's important to tell the truth. Honesty is important. And we also learned about responsibility, didn't we? Because it was the boy's responsibility in the story to make sure that he kept his flock of sheep safe. That's why he was out there herding his sheep and keeping them safe from the wolf. That's being responsible. That was an important part. Okay. So now that we've done a little bit of review, I want us to look at theme once again. So we are going to watch a very quick story video. You're going to have the opportunity to watch three very quick stories today, and we'll talk about themes so that you see different examples. So let's take a moment to watch this story, The Dog and His Reflection.
One day, a dog was wandering around looking for food. He spied a butcher's shop and went quickly in and stole a nice, fat, juicy bone from the shelf. Happily munching on the bone, he ran into the forest. He soon came across a bridge. As he crossed the bridge, he looked down into the river, and lo and behold, what did he see? He saw another dog, exactly like him, holding a bone in his mouth. The greedy dog decided that he wanted that bone too. So he growled, hoping that the other dog in the river would drop the bone out of fear. He would then grab the other bone and run away with two bones. But as he gave out a loud snarl to scare off the other dog, the bone fell from his mouth into the river, lost forever. The dog, in his greed, had mistaken his own reflection in the river for another dog carrying a bone. He realized his folly too late and walked away hungry and sad, but perhaps a little wiser.
Okay, so this story also had an important lesson at the end, a message. What do you think it was? This might be a good time to pause the video and share what you think the message was with your grown-up at home or with a friend. Okay, friends, and I hope you're back with me after having discussed what you think the theme was, or the moral, the lesson that you learned from the dog and his reflection. You might have said, if you're always greedy for more, you might lose what you have, right? The dog already had food. That was all he needed. He really didn't need more food. But when he thought he saw a dog with more food, he wanted to go after that and take more than he needed, right? But it wasn't actually a dog with more food, was it? It was just the reflection of himself in the water. And so instead of having the food that he needed, that he had in the first place, he ended up with nothing because he was greedy. He was wanting to take more than what he needed. Okay, so again, the moral of that story is that greed can lead to costly behavior, right? Let's look at another example. We're going to talk about the goat and the singing wolf. So this is another one of Aesop's fables. And I'm going to pause the video here and we will watch this one. But before we watch this one, friends, I want us to think about a different kind of theme. So the goat and the singing wolf also has a message, a theme. But in this case, it is stated. What is a stated theme? That means that the author will actually tell us the theme, usually at the end of the story. You will see the theme in words at the end of the story. So as you're watching this video, I want you to think about, what is the lesson? What are we taking away from this? And see if you can spot the theme that is going to be written for us at the end of the story. Let's go ahead and watch.
based on laughed when he saw the wolf run away. That was the best song I ever heard. Chuckle. The wolf learned an important lesson every do not smell when a goat is within reach.
Okay, were you able to find our theme stated at the end of this story? What did you see? What did you think the theme was? Tell a grown-up at home. Let's find out. Oops. There it was. Did you see this at the end on our last page? Our stated theme, which means the author told us what it was, is right here. The wolf learned an important lesson that day. Do not become distracted when a goal is within reach. That was our lesson in that story. That's a stated theme. All right, friends, let's look at one more example. We're going to talk about an implied theme. This is another kind of theme. It's the opposite of a stated theme. Instead of the author telling us what it is, the author does not tell the theme, and you must think about what the characters may have learned in the story. It's up to you to decide after thinking about everything that's going on in the story. That's an implied theme. Let's look at one more short story. And this time, I would like you to think about what's going on, what the characters may be thinking and feeling, and we are going to talk about what you think the implied theme is. Here we go. This story is called Brainstorm Bear.
Brainstorm Bear, written by Tom Anderson, illustrated by Dennis Jones. Focus question: why does the family in the story brainstorm? There's a bear in that tree over there, Sam called. We need to get him down before another scene starts.
Okay. So, again, in this story, I was asking you to think about what's happening to the characters so that you could decide what you think the theme was. In this case, the story had an implied theme. That means that the author did not actually tell us in words what the theme was, and we had to figure it out for ourselves. So, as I was listening to the story, I thought maybe there was a theme of courage there because they needed to save the bear. Maybe caring because they cared that the bear got out safely. Maybe some bravery, kindness, compassion. They didn't want the bear stuck up there. And the little sister wanted to help her brother, right? So those were some implied themes that I thought of during the story. What do you think? Maybe this is a good time to pause the video and talk with your grown-up at home about what you took from the story. What do you think the characters felt? All right, good friends. I hope you've had a chance to talk about Brainstorm Bear, think about theme. I know we introduced a lot today. I gave you 3 different examples. So it might be nice, if you would like, to watch this video lesson again later today or maybe on the weekend because it was a lot of good information. We'll talk about theme and different elements of the story throughout our school year. But this was kind of a fun one today because there were 3 different stories that we were looking at. So maybe take some time to watch this again if you'd like, because reading is always good. All right, so I'm going to stop there. That is the end of our lesson for today. Ending on that screen there, maybe that's not the best one, but I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me for this language and literacy session part 2. And we will see you again for civics later. Have a great break